Hi.
Hi.
How are you? I'm a big Red Sox fan. And what's cool about yesterday's game was it was the perfect game because they were down 5-0. And I watched them the night before where they lost 1-0 and I couldn't get to sleep until 2 in the morning. And I wanted to be fresh for the seminar. I wanted to do my best in the seminar. But if the Red Sox game was close, I was going to have to stay awake. When they were down 5-0, I went to sleep. And I woke up today and they won 6-5. So it was the perfect storm. I got my sleep and the Red Sox won. I'm going to talk to you today about, my title is You Are Not Parkinson's, and how to embrace Parkinson's, embrace adversity. This is not something, a lot of this information is something you've never heard before. I'm going to say that again. Some of this information is you've never heard before. You've never heard anyone talk about it. So it should be something special for you. I'll speak up because we've got a big audience. Embracing adversity. Embracing adversity. Sounds a little strange. How can you embrace Parkinson's? Parkinson's is a terrible thing. I'm not going to say that Parkinson's is something that I would wish on my worst enemy, because it isn't. We all know that. But you can still embrace Parkinson's, and we'll talk about that. What my tangible takeaways today, these are the things I want you to walk away with, and you walk away with. Realize there are many loops and curves in the Parkinson's roller coaster ride. You're going to go through a lot of emotions during Parkinson's. I wish 11 years ago when I got Parkinson's, someone had given me a heads up as to what I was going to go through or what I could potentially go through. I think I would have been able to get through it a lot better and a lot faster and with a lot more intact. If somebody had told me, you're going to go through this, and this. So what I've done is I put together a presentation that goes through the emotional roller coaster that most people go through. I want you to believe in your heart of hearts that you have the power to improve your quality of life. Because I totally believe you do, and I'm setting the example for you. Create your success plan and pull together your tribe. I brought some of my tribeswomen tribe here today. And a lot of the people in the Parkinson's community are tribes person, not a tribes person. People here all over the place. So those are the tangible takeaways. Legal disclaimer. As you heard, I'm an attorney, so I have to give a legal disclaimer. I'm not a licensed doctor. I did stay at a Holiday Inn Express last night. But I'm not a licensed doctor. I'm also not a licensed country singer. I'm not a licensed psychic. But I am 100% optimist. And you have to check with your licensed specialist before doing anything except being happy. So that's my disclaimer. It's kind of a unique disclaimer.
Excuse me, I hate they don't have microphones in these rooms, but we're having difficulty hearing.
I think if we shut the doors.
You are not Parkinson's. How's that?
Yeah.
I got it.
I am not Parkinson's. We are not Parkinson's. We are so much more. We have a life outside of Parkinson's. I went to a women's retreat in southern Indiana the other day, where in a hotel room we got 30 women together and myself, not a bad situation. And we talked about, I did a presentation, and about 2 minutes into the presentation I said, this isn't working. We only have 30 people. Let's talk. I want to find out about you. I want to know about you. So I went to the first woman and I said to her, tell me about yourself. And she said, I've had Parkinson's for 12 years and I can't do this and I can't do that. The second one said, I've had Parkinson's for 8 years and I can't do this, I can't do that. The third one says, I've had Parkinson's for 4 years. And I said, stop, time out, hold it. I want to know about you. I want to know about you. So it was like clouds parted and the sun shined in. And the first one said, I build buildings. If you go to downtown Indianapolis, there's a building that I was a part of building. And the second one said, I grow prize-winning tomatoes. And their facial expression was so different that I say, I am not Parkinson's, you are not Parkinson's. You are a person. And I'm going to even say you're a better person because of Parkinson's. Shocking as that may sound. And I'll get to that. I want to change person with Parkinson's. I want to change that phrase. I don't like it. And you'll learn a little bit later what I prefer. Caregiver. I want to change that label too. But I'm going to have my caregiver / new word going to speak for a couple of seconds about what she'd prefer to be called. It's my wife, Bernadette.
Good morning, everybody. First of all, I do want to congratulate you all for coming here and trying to learn more about this disease and finding the support groups and gaining information on how to live a better quality of life with this disease. So I applaud you for coming here. My main point to you is to tell you that one day John was getting ready to speak, and I kept reading all these things, caregiver, take care, caregiver, and I thought, you know, there's iPhones, iPads. I'm more than a caregiver. I care. I care whether or not my husband takes his medications on time. I care whether or not he eats healthy foods. I care whether or not he carves out time to exercise. I care that he tries to live a stressful life. I care that he gets enough sleep, that he drinks enough water. I just plain care. So I'm not a caregiver anymore. I just care. And are there any caregivers in this room today? There's another great part about being an I care partner, because I get to care about myself. I care about also taking care of who I am, and that means carving out time for myself. You all need to take care of yourselves, through health, exercise, and nutrition, because without you being in that state of a healthier quality of life, it is hard for you to be a caregiver, I care partner, for that person. So I encourage you to find hobbies, find avenues of where you can get support groups, and also gather around with you a tribe of people that will support you and help you when you're having those down times. So that was my message to you today. Thank you.
Let me tell you something about Bernadette. I've had Parkinson's 11 years. We've been married 2 years. We've known each other 2 years. We've known each other only 2 years. She chose this. Wow. And she knew what she was getting into. And she chose this life. I don't think there's a lot of people that would choose this life. So I applaud her. And I love her. We're going to play a game. We're going to go through the emotions that you go through. We're going to start with, what word do you think I'm looking for? Just shout it out. Journey. It's not that hard. It's not that difficult. I'm not trying to trick you. It's a journey. We're all on a journey. We all face adversity, whether it's Parkinson's, being a care partner for a Parkinson's person, or anything else, a loss of a loved one, the loss of a job, a divorce, whatever. Everybody has their crosses to bear. Everybody has their life-changing events. Everybody has their adversity. It's how you deal with that adversity that demonstrates you as a person, that shows you as a person. And you need to keep that in mind. We're all on a journey. It's how we handle ourselves during our journey. We have the power to maintain our quality of life, including slowing the progression of the disease and, yes, even reversing it. What? You're kidding me. 2 years ago, I weighed 35 more pounds. I was a wreck. I was in more advanced stages of Parkinson's. I made a life-changing decision. And you'll hear a little bit more about that. I figure I've taken 7 years off my Parkinson's. I've had it 11 years. 11 years. And I've taken 7 years off my Parkinson's. Until there is a cure, that is the goal. I want to show you what club we're in. We're in a pretty exclusive club. Got Muhammad Ali, Michael J. Fox, Pope John Paul II. I was on Stan Frager's Sunday night radio show, and we were talking about Parkinson's, and he said, I guess the most famous person with Parkinson's is Muhammad Ali. And I said, well, the Roman Catholic community in the world would disagree with you, because John Paul II has Parkinson's. Coach Craig Thorpe, Davis Finney, Janet Reno, Brian Grant, and one of the newest members of the society is Dave Parker from the Pittsburgh Pirates. Linda Ronstadt just came out. So there's a lot of people that you're one of the chosen. You're in a pretty good group. Oh, and there's, of course, this young man. It's me. Life before Parkinson's. We all had one. We all had one. I was an attorney. I was loving life. Lived in Lake Forest, went to Lake Forest Country Club, had some nice cars. Top attorney at a corporation. 41 years old, I walk into a doctor's office. She immediately says, "You've got Parkinson's." I said, "You haven't looked up my nose, you haven't taken a urine sample, you haven't banged me with a hammer." She said, "You've got all the classic symptoms. Your arm doesn't swing when you walk. Your hand is shaking. Your handwriting is illegible. You have expressionless face. You don't blink." My legs were cut out from under me. I had to decide what to do. I worked for a number of years, but then I had to give up because, many of you know, we suffer from fatigue. So it's a life-changing event. We go through emotions. There's a whole roller coaster of emotions to go through. And I want to go through these emotions not to depress you in any way, shape, or form, but just to identify them so that when you go through them, maybe you can get them through them more quickly. I would love to have someone 11 years ago told me what emotions I was going to go through. We all remember in excruciating detail the fateful day we got diagnosed. It's like 9/11. That's why I showed the 9/11. It's your own personal 9/11. I saw white light. I saw white light when I was told. There's only 2 other occasions I've seen white light. I was in 2 bus accidents, strangely enough. By the way, if you ever see me getting on a bus, don't get on the bus. What's the first? What do you think this is? What emotion is this?
Shock.
Shock.
Do it again, I already have one.
Shock. We recognize that we went in shock. I still think I'm in shock today. I make decisions every day that I think I'm still in shock. Listen to this one. For 5 years I worked after I found out I had Parkinson's. We had a long-term disability policy that I could have signed up for at work. I never signed up for it, and no one suggested that I do. What? How stupid was I? I was in shock. I was in shock. So that's why I advocate, as part of your tribe, having a benefits attorney to help you be an advisor. Because I was Superman, I was going to work forever. It didn't work out that way. Disbelief. Some people describe it walking around like a zombie. What do you think this is? What emotion is this? Denial. Denial. I love this one. It should say, "We did nothing to cause this disease." No wonder we get stuck in denial. There's no confirmatory test. Actually, when I did ask for a confirmatory test after being diagnosed, I was told an autopsy, and I chose against doing it. But no wonder we get stuck in denial. It's misdiagnosed often in the community, and there's no definitive test. What do you think this is? No more CDs. Isolation. You feel isolation. Dave Parker, who I showed before, said there is no fear. He didn't disclose for family and friends for over a year. You've got to choose when you disclose it. By keeping it a secret, we increase the degree of isolation. So pick and choose your time to disclose, but you've got to, at some point, disclose it. It's not something to be embarrassed about. You did nothing to cause your Parkinson's. Don't be embarrassed about it. It's not something, it's something that's happened to you. Of course there's awkwardness. There's going to be empathy. People don't know what to say. Should they say, I'm sorry? I say, for what? You never know what to say when someone talks to you about Parkinson's. But you're like a snowflake. Everyone has a different experience of Parkinson's. What do you think this is? Anger. Funny, I never experienced anger. I don't know why. I figure since I didn't do anything to cause Parkinson's, it was something that I was destined to have. And that has something to do with my higher power. And I don't want to get angry with my higher power because they have a lot of power. It's someone very powerful to get angry with. So I never got angry. But you were not in a motorcycle accident without a helmet. You buckled up your seatbelt every time you drove. You didn't cause your Parkinson's. It's not your fault, but you got to get over it. And you'll hear get over it over and over again. When I spoke in South Dakota, this person told me that he paints on barns, and he puts sayings on barns. And he told me that his next barn he was going to write, get over it on it. You've got to get over it. You've got to get over it. If you want to move on to the next phase, you've got to get over it. Anger is poison to the soul. A friend of mine wrote a book, and I can share that with you later. Has anyone said, why me?
A comment. I had no problem dealing with it, but my now ex-spouse did, and it was to the point where he was embarrassed about it if my friends knew about it.
Right. That's something you have to deal with. One of the later slides will show had to do with eye care partner. Your eye care partner goes through the same things that you're going through. They go through the anger. They go through the denial. They go through the isolation. It's almost parallel. It's amazing. And they have to get over it too. They have to get on with life. And that's what we're talking about here. Get through the emotions that you need to get through and get on with life. That's what I talk about embracing Parkinson's. Depression. It's a big subject. I'll tell you a story about my childhood. My brother hit me with a rock when I was 10 years old and he was 8. He says I was 4 and he was 2, but whatever. There was blood everywhere. My mother freaking out. Oh! Took me to the hospital. I got 10 stitches. He said there were 2. It was 10 stitches. Promise. On the way home from the hospital, we stopped and got ice cream. Remember, I could have had a concussion, so they had to keep me up. So my brother and sister went off to bed, and I got to stay up. And they brought ice cream because they felt so bad, and I got to eat ice cream while my brother and sister were in bed. And the family folklore goes that I said to them, this is the luckiest day of my life. I got hit in the head with a rock. That's being an optimist. Well, I learned what depression was. It hit me like a brick in the face. I was driving along about 2 years after I was diagnosed with Parkinson's, and I went into the deepest, blackest hole ever. I didn't care if I lived or died. That's how bad it was. And I came out of it and I said, oh my goodness, what the heck was that? And about 2 weeks later it happened again. I went to see my doctor and I got on antidepressants. There's nothing to be ashamed of. Take medication. So that's how I got over my depression. But depression is a very real thing. And if you think about it, not to depress you even further, read some of the things that happen. You go to these conferences and you look around you and you listen to speakers. Well, what I want to talk about is, if you've seen A Christmas Carol, and you know that Charles Dickens, the third ghost that comes to him that night, the ghost of Christmas yet to be, Ebenezer Scrooge asks a question of him. He says, is this the future or the possible future? My answer to that is, this is the possible future. You can do things to increase the quality of your life. And I'm going to discuss those. Get over it. If you can't get over it on your own, go see a spiritual leader. Go see Eastern medicine. Go to Western medicine. Go to exercise. Do whatever it takes. There's plenty of options out there. You'll hear about a lot of these options at the conference. Do whatever it takes until you find something that works. And uncover and fulfill your purpose. There's a cure for I have no reason to live. That's find your purpose. What do you think this one is? Wake up call. It's a wake up call. I love that kid. Somewhere along the way you have to find a transforming moment. For me there were two. The first one was I went to see a Davis Finney seminar in Tulsa, Oklahoma. And an exercise person stood up there and said, you've got to get outside your comfort zone. Huh. That doesn't mean I have to do a drastic change in my exercise routine. I just have to get outside my comfort zone. Do something outside my comfort zone. If you get one good thing from a symposium, you've done your way ahead of the game, and that was my good thing. I went home and I got a personal trainer. Turned out to be a personal counter. That's all he was. He just counted. He was more of a professional counter. So I moved on and I found someone else. And that's when I met Bernadette. And over the last 2 years, I've lost 35 pounds. And I'm in top physical shape. Pick a day to start your new life. Let me tell you about 4 of the best. I was talking to my mom about 2 years after I got Parkinson's. And I said to her, we were having a casual conversation, and she said, you know, John, everything happens for a reason. And I thought about it. I'm a lawyer by trade, and words mean everything. And I said, you just changed your phrase. You changed it from, you used to say hundreds of times growing up, everything happens for the best. She said, well, I can't imagine that your Parkinson's is for the best. Wow. Talk about a bucket of cold water thrown in my head. It woke me up. I said, I'm going to prove to this wonderful woman that Parkinson's is for the best. And I've spent the last 10 years just doing that. My wife made me put the slide in. It used to be a different slide. What is it? A plan. I guess that's a plan, strategy. It's never too late to develop a life plan to not only survive but successfully embrace living with Parkinson's. Your new job, your only job, your sole job, your job is to live life to the fullest with Parkinson's. Is to sustain the highest quality of life for the remainder of your life. This is your top priority. It's that simple, but it's the hardest thing you'll ever do. And I'm going to tell you how to do it. Told you I weighed 35 pounds more. Puffy cheeks, didn't look healthy. I don't know why Bernadette even gave me a second look. I'm still pretty cute. Create your plan. The first thing I did was I decided to write a book. Decide Success. I'd always wanted to write a book on success. I wanted to write a book on success as a student, and success as a professional, and success in a hobby or sport. And I came up with 12 action steps. And when I came down with Parkinson's, it added a whole new dimension to the book. Because the 12 action steps that you need to fulfill to be more successful as a student, as a professional, as an athlete, are just as applicable to Parkinson's. So I wrote a book and I followed my own guidelines in the book, the 12 action steps. First one is assess. We change. Especially with Parkinson's, we change every few months. We have different strengths, different weaknesses, different abilities. I've changed over the last 11 years. You have to have an end vision. My end vision is to be the slowest progressing Parkinson's person on the face of the earth. My end vision. I can have whatever I want. So I decided 10 years ago, and actually it's the slowest progressing Parkinson's person in the annals of medical history. That's even better. That's what I decided to do. But you got to do the daily actions. It just doesn't come from doing an end vision, from envisioning yourself there. You've got to do the daily actions And attitude gives you the power you need to get there. My plan. Now this is not for everyone. This is just what I did because I wanted to transform myself. I wanted to be as healthy as I could be. But this is my plan. Eat only healthy, nutritious, body-healing foods. 80% of your health is what you put in your body. No processed foods, no fried foods, lots of water. Be very careful about sugar and sugar substitutes. And as I said, exercise every day out of my comfort zone. I brought with me 2 members of my tribe. Now, when you think about tribe, or you think about the people that support you, you think about your movement disorder specialist. You think about your person that helps you with your voice therapy. You think about your rehab person. You think about your neurologist. But do you think about your exercise people? Do you think about an employment lawyer? Do you think about a benefits lawyer? Do you think about those people? Not typically. And this is the first conference I've been at that a lawyer actually showed up and was doing a breakout session, which is amazing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to let Kristen.
That's he changed it. He changed his name.
As I say, you can call me anything you want, just don't call me late for dinner. Kristen's going to talk about one aspect of the exercise routine that I work on.
Thank you, John. It's a pleasure to be here. It's been a pleasure to get to know Bernadette and John and his journey, his diagnosis with Parkinson's, and his choice to live a happy and successful life. We all have choices. I've been a fitness instructor my whole adult life. I was very active as a child, and I've enjoyed fitness. I was dealt a hand of cards, as we all are. We don't get to choose our DNA, but the choices we make regarding that hand of cards that we're dealt has everything to do with our ultimate happiness. In my mid-30s, I found myself a stay-at-home mom with 3 kids, enjoying every minute of that. It was a choice I made. Also babysitting other kids in the neighborhood. And we would every day, with their permission, gather up all these kids and head off to the gym, and I would teach my aerobics class. And it was my choice to stay in shape that way. And I maintained this fitness level throughout the years. But something was missing. I was looking for a little bit more calm. I thought, gee, a stay-at-home mom that's calm too? What a concept. That would be absolutely fantastic, because as you know, stay-at-home moms are rarely at home. We're always hustling and bustling everywhere. My first experience with a yoga class was at a weekend retreat in the late 90s. And I was like a fish out of water. I didn't know what to expect. It was a little cold that day. It was summer, but we were in a cold room. And I was a little stiff and a little tight. And I got through the class okay. I enjoyed it. My instructor was amazing. She was an older woman. She was my epitome of what a yoga teacher should look like and act like. And after the class, she came up to me and she said, "You will teach the yoga." Wow, that was profound. I knew nothing about yoga, but I thought, wow, I got to look into this. But that wasn't the magic. What the magic was what happened after that, the 3 days after my class. I felt a calm. I felt a center, and it was wonderful. I said, I need more of that. And so a friend introduced me to the concept of Bikram Yoga. Bikram Yoga, it's hot. It's 105 degrees and 40% humidity. And I thought, goodness sakes. She goes, it's a challenge. It's a therapeutic effect, and anyone can do it. You need to try it. So I showed up for Bikram with a little ammunition, a background in fitness, wasn't quite fair, and I had a flexibility background because I enjoyed dance as well. But I was in the classroom with all these people that had never done Bikram Yoga, had never exercised a day, may have had a knee replacement, may have had a hip replacement. Heck, my best friend does Bikram Yoga, and he has cerebral palsy. The people in the front row, well, they were amazing. They'd been doing the yoga for a long time. It was so awesome to see. But what we all left with, even with a background that was very different for all of us, we all left with the same thing, and that was benefit. We all got this amazing benefit from trying it the right way. And Bikram Yoga is a very specific 26 asana series with 2 breathing exercises. It's 26 of the classic 84 Hatha Yoga postures. It's designed to work every joint, ligament, tendon, system of the body, bones to skin. You detox, you burn fat, you go at your own pace, you rest when you need to, you get back in the game when you can. You don't learn to run 5 miles your first day. You don't zip out there and do that. You progressively increase your stamina. Well, Bikram Yoga is therapeutic, so you're not beating yourself up like we do in the Western world of sports. We are therapeutically enhancing the body. And if my friend with cerebral palsy that was born with that can try and attempt the postures, anybody can. It's just a mindset. Anyway, Bikram's famous quote is, You're never too old, you're never too sick, and you're never too fat. Certainly, and it's never too late to start again from scratch. And I believe that. We're all given choices, and the beautiful thing is that to try a yoga class or to attempt another kind of exercise is a choice that you definitely have to make.
Thank you.
I've been doing Bikram Yoga at her studio for the last 8 months, and I started out very slow. I have Parkinson's after all. And I progressed as we've gone along. What I find I get out of it is strength training, stretching, detoxification because of the sweating, and I feel great afterward. I say afterward. It's real tough to do. I also, let me just tell you my progressions. I was a phony. I'll tell you that truthfully. I was talking to groups like this, and I wasn't walking the talk. I would talk about exercise, I would talk about eating right, and I'd talk about awareness, and I wasn't doing any of it. I was a phony. After I went to this professional counter, as I call them, I met Bernadette, and she's very into fitness and health. And she's the one that created my plan for me. We started out with a treadmill, moved to an elliptical machine, moved to a spin bike, moved to interval training on a spin bike where you stand up and spin, moved to core fitness, and then moved to a general fitness trainer, Garrett, that you're going to meet in a second, and then ended up in yoga. Right now, I do 3 days a week yoga, 3 days a week kettlebell training. I couldn't do that 2 years ago. But over the last 2 years, I've slowly progressed to that point. And you can too. You can too. So I'm going to bring up Garrett at this point, and it's Garrett Watson, not Garrett Wilson. And he's going to talk about the other training that I do.
Good afternoon. I'm Garrett Watson. I'm what's called a CSCS. That's a Certified Strength and Conditioning Specialist. I'm also a Certified Personal Trainer and RKC, Russian Kettlebell instructor. I'm a fitness guy. Okay, I've been doing this for since I graduated college for the last 10 years, and I really enjoy my work. I love what I do. I run a program called Core Fit. In Core Fit, we use Russian kettlebells. Okay, we use Olympic lifts. We use gymnastics techniques and other fitness instruments to create our program. I would say, in the wide scheme of things, and as far as you have yoga, you have spin, you have all these different modes of exercises. This core fitness may be a little bit more on the extreme side of things. Although when I tell people when they come in my class, so this program is for everyone. This program for everyone. Okay, everyone could do this program. Everybody could be successful in this program. Okay, if you put your mind to it. It's progressive in nature. It's progressive in nature. Like John said, you don't go from 1 to 1,000. As long as you're willing to learn the techniques, okay? As long as you're willing to take the time, as long as you're willing to push yourself and get outside your comfort zone, you will be successful in my program.
Garrett, why don't you tell me about what you thought of me initially?
Yeah, initially, I'm ashamed to admit that I didn't think John would be, successful in my program. I had never met anybody with Parkinson's before. Initially, I just didn't think that he was going to be able to perform the basic techniques that would allow him to complete my program. But John came in. He did what I asked him to do. Okay, he did what I asked him to do. He learned the basic techniques. He raised his exercise IQ. He came to class on a regular basis, and because of that, we were able to be successful in the program. We don't always have great days. We don't always have great days. Sometimes John doesn't move well. Sometimes he can't straighten his arm. okay, all the way. But that's my job as a fitness professional. I can always make these exercises, modify these exercises so he can be successful in the class. As long as he's willing to push himself and to his potential, then we can be successful, and so can you all be successful in this class. The one thing that I want you to take away from this discussion today is that, please, you don't have to do my program. Not even my program. Find some program to do, and when you do, don't let anybody discourage you from doing the program just because you have Parkinson's. Okay, a good fitness professional could always modify exercises and get you through and make you successful. Thank you all very much.
This is us. This is my gym, my tribe of people who help me. I don't use the same weight as other people. I use a lower weight, and sometimes it's a little bit embarrassing because some of these guys are pretty huge, and they kettlebell pretty heavy weights. I don't care. I don't care that I don't have use the same weights as them. I use the weights that fit me. Il dolce fa niente. No? My wife speaks Italian. How do you say it?
Il dolce de fare niente.
It means the sweetness of just doing nothing. Taking the time to just do nothing. We talk about exercise, we talk about research, we talk about a team of experts. You've still got to take the time to do nothing. And meditate or enjoy the flowers and a beautiful day and that sort of thing. I don't need to read all these slides because you obviously can read.
On the last slide, what was your Aslan story?
Aslan, I had a progressive doctor, and she gave me a prescription for Aslan 4 years before it was FDA approved. So I got it out of Israel, Teva Labs, and I was able to take it. And I've been on it for all 11 years of my Parkinson's. I don't know whether it made a difference, but I'm glad I got to do it. That's where research comes into play. There's a Apican pen. I've been doing talks for 11 years. I have done over 30 symposiums all over the United States and Canada. I'd never heard about this till last week. It's like an EpiPen that gives you a quick dose of whatever medicine you need. It's the first time I've ever heard of it. That's why you do the research. That's why you come to symposiums. That's why because you need to learn as much as you can and bring those things to your doctor. Don't wait for your doctor to bring them to you. Bring those things to your doctor and say, what do you think about this? Will this work for me? Does this make sense for me? Do your work. I'll tell you, I wasn't sleeping well. I wasn't getting any REM sleep. And it was playing on my ability to do what I needed to do. Bernadette says to the doctor, is there anything he can take for REM sleep? The doctor prescribed something. I slept the best night's sleep of my life. Why do we have to ask? I don't know, but you have to. You have to do the research yourself. She came up with the medicine that would work for me. So that's the Aslan story. I started it well before everyone else because I did the research. Security and Medicare. Social Security and Medicare. It's important. You're not an expert, and like I said, you're still in shock. Get yourself a team of advisors. Get yourself a Social Security disability expert. What you don't know can hurt you. And I'll leave it at that. You need an employment lawyer. If you decide to stop working or tell your employer, you need to know what the ramifications of that are. about what a reasonable accommodation is. You need to know these things. Now the good part, the silver lining. Benefits of having Parkinson's. Yes, I said it. I said the benefits of having Parkinson's. First benefit, if there were an Olympic staring contest, we would kick butt. We need to petition the Olympics to have a staring contest, because we would win. I used to get beat at Texas Hold'em so bad. I used to be a terrible Texas Hold'em player. My friends would just enjoy having me come into their house and take all my money. I stopped taking my meds 2 days before I play with them now. My expression doesn't change. When I get that fourth queen, nobody knows it. Express appreciation to your eye care partner. One of the things that came to me, I was speaking at the Sunflower Revolution, and it occurred to me that at the end of a phone call with a loved one, you say, "I love you," and that's a wonderful thing to say. With Parkinson's, you get to express in actions how much you love your loved one. You don't have to just say the words at the end of a phone call. You get to do things for that person. That's a gift. That's a way to express appreciation. In fact, if you don't mind doing it right now, express appreciation to your eye care partner. Let's hear what you do today. In any way, shape, or form you feel like doing it, up to a point. Keep it G-rated. I love this part. Let them know how much you appreciate them. Do something more purposeful with your life. Help others. Develop lasting friendships in the PD community. I have more friends nationwide, true friends in the Parkinson's community, than I had before getting Parkinson's. That's a pretty powerful statement. And that's a humbling experience. As a top attorney for a corporation, I would show up late, 10 minutes late for meetings just because I could. I was an a-hole. I truly was. I would have a group of 10 people waiting for me for 5 to 10 minutes for me to show up for a meeting that I called. I've been told that I've become more loving, kind, and compassionate. An attorney I went out to lunch with the other day, and he said, "You are a different person now, John. You're nice." Nice and lawyer aren't usually in the same sentence. Here's my daily actions. My daily actions. Because you've got to have a set of daily actions. You've got to have a plan. You've got to have a plan. Daily actions. First, I take my meds. I hate taking medication. But I take them. I got to take them. Thank you, thank you, thank you, World of Medicine, for coming up with my meds, especially levodopa-carbidopa. Thank you so much. Because it allows me to do other things. When I don't take my medication, I'm a wreck. And that's just the way it is. Eat right. Exercise. Research. Seek out learning and teaching opportunities. That's what I've chosen to do with my life. My purpose. My way to show my mom that it's for the best. You don't have to become an inspirational speaker. You can do clinical trials. You can volunteer at support groups. You can volunteer at a nursing home. There are so many things you can do. So many needs out there to find your purpose. So that's what I choose to do. My latest idea is I'm trying to identify individuals who are willing to sponsor talks at support groups in less populated locations. I get calls from groups all over the United States, Tucson, Arizona, small places in Iowa, South Dakota, New Mexico, that don't have the funds to bring in an inspirational speaker. They can't pay the expenses. They're too small, populated area. I'm just trying to match up people with means that are willing to sponsor these less populated. So I just started doing that, and then live the Decide Success principles. Let me tell you how I think I can prove to you that a positive attitude actually works in helping you with Parkinson's. Why do they have a group that takes a sugar pill? Why do they have a group that takes a sugar pill and a group that takes trial medication? The placebo effect. The first 3 months, you both get the benefits. What? What else could that be other than positive mindset? You're going to get the benefit even though you're taking a sugar pill. That proves to me that having a positive attitude makes a difference. You ever hear the expression, the glass is half full and the glass is half empty? Well, a glass is always full, by the way. There are 3 elements in the world. There's liquid, there's solid, and there's gas. Every glass is full. That's an optimist. I'll tell you about Ted Williams. Ted Williams is a baseball player. He's the last person to hit 400. If you hit 300, you're an all-star. To hit 400 is unbelievable. Unbelievable. He was being interviewed when he was 75 years old. And the question was, are the pitchers better today than they were back when? How would you do against today's pitchers? It's really what he asked. How would you do against today's pitchers? And he said, I'd hit about 200, which is terrible. And the reporter said, the pitchers are that much better today than they were during your era? And he said, for goodness sake, I'm 85 years old. How do you think I hit this? That's attitude. He thought at 85 years old he could still hit the ball. You have to have a purpose. First of all, have faith in yourself. You can do this. 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 Faith in others, your tribe. Create your tribe, your experts, your advisors. Create your tribe. In your higher power, and realize that you have a purpose. You have a purpose. I thought my purpose was to maintain jobs for people in my corporation. I thought my purpose was to eliminate harassment at work. I thought my purpose was to reduce the injuries at work. I thought my purpose was to do all sorts of things to increase the workforce so that people could put food on their table and roofs over their heads. That wasn't my purpose. My purpose was to try to inspire people and be inspired by people. What would I be doing today, right this moment, had I not gotten Parkinson's? I used to work 80 hours a week as an attorney. I would be in an office somewhere reading over contracts instead of feeling the energy that I'm feeling from you and hopefully inspiring you. What would Michael J. Fox have done with his life had he not gotten Parkinson's? I don't think he would have raised hundreds of millions of dollars for Parkinson's research for the best. Think about it. Acceptance, the new normal. Others can be there, let them in. Allow yourself to accept the stages of grief as they come. Go through the emotions. Get through them as quickly as you can. And then find meaning in what happened. Embrace adversity. I'm not going to even read this. I'm going to let you read this. That's a pretty powerful statement. Eye Care Partners, like I said, you've gone through the same, you go through the same stages that people with Parkinson's go through. You had a full plate before this happened. You had a full plate before this happened. To add the burden of caring for someone with Parkinson's, oh my goodness. That's why I'm so in awe of Care Partners, what you do every day. We have the power to have the highest quality of life that we can possibly have. Tap into that power. Changed person. I didn't realize I dressed like a Smurf when I took this picture. Jim Valvano, one of my favorite speakers, had brain cancer. He's passed away quite some time ago. My favorite quote from him, and I don't throw a lot of quotes out there, but when I find one that I like, I really like it. You should laugh every day. You should spend some time in thought. You should have your emotions move to tears. It could be happiness or joy. If you laugh, you think, and you cry, that's a heck of a day. Small victories. There's a songwriter named Gary Allan. Anyone ever hear of him? He's kind of a secondary country artist, but he wrote a song, and I have to read you the first verse to it. And even though Linda Ronstadt says that she can't sing anymore, I certainly never could. Life ain't always beautiful. Sometimes it's just plain hard. Life can knock you down, it can break your heart. But the struggles make you stronger, and the changes make you wise, and happiness has its own way of taking its sweet time. No, life ain't always beautiful, but I know I'll be fine. Hey, life ain't always beautiful, but it's a beautiful ride. What a beautiful ride. Your new title. Drum roll. Everybody. Parkinson's proud. No more person with Parkinson's, people with Parkinson's. We are now Parkinson's proud. Repeat after me. I state your name.
I.
No, you have to say I state your name. It's like Animal House. I state your name. I'm Parkinson's proud.
Parkinson's proud.
And your eye care partner are Parkinson's Proud's eye care partners. Nothing is impossible. Nothing is impossible. We put a man on the moon, we have heart transplants, there's deep brain stimulation. I'll shorten the story, but there was a graduate student in math who was late for class one day because he had a flat tire. There were 2 problems on the board. This is a true story. There were 2 problems on the board. He dutifully took them down. It was a Friday afternoon. He went home. He started working on his homework. He's a graduate student in math. What else is going to be in happy hour? So he worked on the problems. By Sunday night, he had solved the first problem. But he was going to get a 50% on the homework because there were 2 of them. So he went to the next morning. He slipped the answer under the professor's door and said, I'll see you in class. I'm going to work on the second one. He started working on the second one. He fell asleep. He woke up at 5 o'clock. He missed class. Now he was late for class, 50% of the homework, and missed class. He thought he was going to be expelled. There's a knock on the door. It's the president of the university, the head of the chair of the math department, and his professor. He said, I am expelled. I can't, I've got to tell my parents that I'm expelled. Opens the door, they've got the biggest smile on their faces. They said, you've done it. You've solved an unsolvable math problem. Einstein couldn't solve this problem. He was 20 minutes late for class. He didn't know they were insolvable. Anything is possible if you believe it's possible. That's a true story. I looked it up. Michael J. Fox. I thought Michael J. Fox was just an actor who happened to get Parkinson's. Then I read this quote, and it made me a true believer that he is a leader in our community. For everything this disease has taken, something of a greater value has been given. Sometimes just a marker that points me in a new direction that I might not otherwise have traveled. So sure, it may be 1 step forward and 2 steps back, but after a time with Parkinson's, I've learned that what's important is making that 1 step count. Always. Make your 1 step count. It's not my Parkinson's. It's just Parkinson's. Parkinson's doesn't have me. I have Parkinson's. I am not Parkinson's. You're not Parkinson's. We are not Parkinson's. You're so much more than that. This is what I do now. I want to end with a quote. Leo Pascal. Too often we underestimate the power of a touch, a smile, a kind word, a listening ear. An honest compliment or the smallest act. All of which have the potential to turn a life around. With infinite love and gratitude, thank you.